choke. Wednesday heat, 8 p.m. no debate. Sports Bar Nation, we never show up late. This is the Sports Bar. Wednesday nights we go hard. Veterans strong and we stand tall. WTF Nation, we run the ball. Hey, hey, turn the lights on. It's Sports Bar, come get your hype on. Hey, turn the lights on. It's Sports Bar, come get your hype on. WTF Nation, Wednesday domination. King and coach in rotation. The Sports Bar's sensation. From kickoff to buzzer beaters, we break it all down. Wednesday 8 p.m. the live show in town. It's the Sports Bar where legends hang out. WTF Nation Radio. We
Well, what do you hear? What do you say? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and great evening, USA. Welcome to the Sports Bar. Hey, it's Coach here tonight. King, unfortunately, had to miss out last minute. Had to take Michelle over to the hospital. She got a little cut on her hand and is in the emergency room getting stitched up right now. But needless to say, I'm not going to be solo here tonight, because as I am coming up right here, and it's coming on, I've got K-Mill up on here. K-Mill, how you doing, my friend?
What's going on? Can you hear me? I think there's a problem with my camera, but
I can hear you. I can't see you, but it's all right. You know, we got you.
Yeah, that's my fault. Give me a second.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Now.
Yep. I got a master's in IT. Think I know what I was doing. Uh-oh. I don't know if it's me or if it's Coach that went out. Well, I'm going to go on a limb and say that it was probably Coach that's freezing up. So I guess I'll backfill for the time being. Like Coach was saying, that King was not able to make it tonight's stream. Had a bit of a medical issue to address, and so I just happened to be available. Got off work in time, and figured I'd step in and help. And figured what better time to talk about what kind of a cool weekend I had at a minor league baseball game. So, hopefully Coach joins back up here shortly. All right. Well, until I see Coach pops back in. My name's K-Bill. So last weekend, I got a chance to go out to the Chesapeake Bay Sox and have a good time. They're a feeder team with the Baltimore Orioles. I see something going on. What do we got?
Oh, what's happening here? K-Bill, can
I
you
hear
see
you.
me?
I
You
hear
can
you.
hear me, but you can't see me, can you?
No, you're
What the hell is happening here?
up the screen there.
Oh, what the hell is going on up here, man? Daggone. All right, so the stream's still going on, right?
Yep. I tried to take over, backfill so we didn't have any dead space. I was just talking about my experience this weekend.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, how did everything go with that, buddy?
That was a lot of fun. I can't remember the last time I've been to an actual baseball game. Probably, I think it might have been was it a minor league or, it was a Texas Ranger game some years back. So, but what I've never experienced before was the opportunity to throw this first ceremonial pitch.
Oh, nice.
Out at a baseball game. So,
yeah,
the Chesapeake Bay Sox, which is a feeder team for the Baltimore Orioles, just east of the DC area. So it was a nice hour and a half drive with traffic. But my girlfriend at the time had reminded me that, or more or less asked me, she's like, "When's the last time you threw a baseball?" I said, "It's been a minute." And then I started testing my range of motion on my shoulder and listening to the crunching. And I said, "Oh, no." So starting that morning, man, I started rolling it, realizing how much range of motion I've lost since I got out of the Army, and was stretching it. And even at the game, I was stretching it. And they only give you one chance to throw. But when I went to throw it, went right down the middle, and
you threw a strike. That's all it's needed, man.
Threw a strike, and it was like even the MC was like, "Oh, check that out!" And when the actual baseball player that was catching for me came up, he's like, "I was a great throw, man." So I was like, "Yeah, almost like I knew what I was doing."
Yeah, no, it's good, man. I'm glad that you were able to get on there, man. I'm glad the first pitch came up and it went well for you. Give me a second. I'm going to try to get off here so I can get on the screen, and if not, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to share something on the screen. Hopefully my audio keeps out, but just give me 1 second here so I can try to get this.
All right.
For some reason, it's not letting me show my daggone screen right here. Or it's not showing my camera, which is okay. Because tonight's K-Mill, as you know, and I'm not sure, I was trying to get you on before this, but tonight is WTF Nation Trivia night. So what I am doing right now is we moved you a little bit over to the side so we could see it up there. For those of y'all that are watching out online tonight, you guys can go ahead, scan that QR code to join. You can also enter in the text. I put it into the chat. Our trivia chat is online right now, so if you want to head on in there, at around 8:30, we're going to go ahead and begin our trivia. But tonight, we will go ahead and play that, and need at least 5 players to go ahead and play trivia this evening. So if you want to go ahead and play, scan that QR code, or you can enter the crowd.live, put in the code MBGS5, and that will be your code to get into our game. You can also click on the game that's over in the chats. I haven't pinned any of it, but that's where we're coming up from there. So if you want to play trivia this evening, you can go right ahead and get that going. Get that saved up right there. We got about another 15 minutes till we'll go live, and I'm monitoring how many people I've got signed up. Once we get about 5 people up here. We got 2 already in right now. We get 5. We'll be going ahead and playing. sports trivia tonight. So, yeah, go ahead, join in, share this with your friends. Come on in with sports trivia. I think I don't remember what King said we were going to give out, but we're going to figure something, and we're going to get you all something. Whoever wins this evening, if you are playing, you can go ahead and win a nice prize over here from the sports bar.
I wonder if it's more Amazon. Wasn't it?
Come on in right
Wasn't
there. K-Mill, you can play too, man. King usually plays,
Oh.
and if anybody beats King, they can go ahead and they can actually play.
Oh, I'm already signed in.
Man, hey, look, if you want to put that into our chats as well, man, to get some other people signed in, I got no problem with that. You know, if you want to throw that in there to the ops chat or throw it into the team, all good with that, man.
Working on that. No.
Hey, so did you, other than your ball game, did you catch any other sports this weekend?
No, I didn't. The only other real big activity I did, because it was raining most of the weekend, was it wasn't sports related. It was the Rolling to Remember motorcycle ride down to DC. So we saw the pictures, saw the videos up there of that one. So it looked pretty nice, man. You have a good ride? Yeah. I mean, other than the rain, but I didn't let it stop me. I mean, I guess the turnout was hampered, like it compared to what it normally is.
Yeah.
But so a majority of the people that actually did show up, a lot of them were people that had ridden in from like out of state. Like I saw Illinois plates, I saw Kansas, I think I saw Wisconsin, I saw Florida, quite a few Florida. So
nice, man. Yeah, this weekend the rain kind of screwed up my plans too. I had an event that to cancel on Saturday, and then Sunday I was planning on, if I could, head down to Charlotte and go watch the Coca-Cola 600. But the rain, it was making a mess all weekend, and everything was kind of messing up about all that. I decided just to stay home, and I did, because on Saturday night I saw the Knicks win Game 3, and then on Monday I saw the Knicks sweep the Cleveland Cavaliers in order to get to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999.
Wow.
And yes, I am a happy man. The last time the Knicks were in the NBA Finals, I was in basic training. It was keeping up with the game, because at that point, we didn't have our phones. We didn't have the computers where we can all go on the internet as easily as, we can now. So the only time that I was able to catch up on what was happening in the world of sports and in the world of news was when the KP detail would print out the front page of CNN and the front page of ESPN and post it on the window as we were going past him in the line at the Chow Hall. That's how I kept my current events going. That's how I saw the Knicks losing in 5 games to the San Antonio Spurs on printouts over by the daggone KP line. But that's how long it's been since the Knicks have been in the NBA Finals. 27 years. It has been 53 years since they last won the championship in 1973. And yes, I know I'm old, but I ain't that daggone where the Knicks were alive when I was nowhere near born when the Knicks last won their championship with Walt Clyde Frazier and Earl the Pearl Monroe, Willis Reed, Dave Fisher, and Bill Bradley. Man, oh man, I could tell you, team has got something that I have not seen since the 2004 Pistons, and they're playing like a team. They're playing like a cohesive unit. They're not being dominated by one superstar, and they have 5 great players on the court at times, and they've gone down to 9 in their rotation, and all of them are contributing. All of them are playing team. All of them are playing defense. And I am a happy man, even though at the beginning of this, and you can rewind this about 3 weeks ago, I said I thought that the Knicks weren't going to get past Boston. Well, Boston was taken care of by Philly, and then they swept Philly. I didn't think that they were going to get past Cleveland, for crying out loud, and then they ended up sweeping them, historically sweeping them, beating them by such a margin that no team other than the 2016-2017 Golden State Warriors have been on, and they won the championship. That was that first year with KD there. I'm a happy-ass Knicks fan. They've got about another 3 or 4 days until, well, no, excuse me, I take that back, June 3rd. So they've got some time to rest up. They've got until next week to rest up until they meet either OKC or they meet San Antonio. So, K-Mill, I know I just went on because my Knick fan and me just went and confident. I'm not sure if you follow the NBA, man, but take on the Knicks making the NBA Finals, and who do you think they're going to match up with next week in Game 1 of the NBA Finals?
You know, I don't follow the NBA quite as well as you, but I do find it impressive the Knicks got to the finals in 4 games with that last series, especially against, the 76ers? And I think the Sixers were having a pretty good season. Obviously, they're in the playoffs, but I mean, I would rather see a Texas team in the in the final, and nothing against OKC, the team, but Oklahoma's just sour on my list of states that I care about. They're pretty low. So mine's not from a sports standpoint on who I'm cheering for. It's more like what geographic locale I'm preferring to see go all the way. So I'm gonna have to say I want to see a Texas team go all the way, and I think that would be pretty. It's one thing to see the Boston and LA go against each other, but I think it's a totally different thing to see Texas and New York go at it. So,
I mean, the last time a Texas team was in 2014 with the San Antonio Spurs. That was Kawhi Leonard's team at the end of the Tim Duncan era. So maybe it's been about 12 years, but man, it has been the last time a New York or New Jersey team has been over 20 years. And that was the 2003 New Jersey Nets with Jason Kidd and Vince Carter and Dikembe Mutombo on that team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And look, I can say that right now with Oklahoma City being up 3, and it looks like, they've been swinging back and forth left and right. Game 6 is going to be physical. And it's going to be at home game for San Antonio. Victor Wembanyama, who I am saying this, that he was the most exciting player I have seen, and probably the only player that I have seen where every play, offense and defense, you have to take accountability for him since Michael Jeffrey Jordan has been on, since he was playing. I believe that San Antonio will come back, take this to a Game 7 and reach the NBA Finals. This is the first saying this in public.
Here he comes.
The New York Knicks have a chance to beat the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder in the NBA championship, the NBA Finals. And I am saying that because of the way that they are playing as a team. There is no great players on that team that are absolute superstars to match up to SGA and to Wemby. No offense, but Kat and Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridgers, Robinson, none of those guys can match up one-on-one against all of the against their best player. Period. That's never going to happen. But them playing all together as a team has got something special cooking right there. And that's what's got Knicks fans all up in a row. And I swear to Christ, I have not seen New York this pumped at all. I'm talking like even in 94, the great summer of 94, when the Knicks made the finals and the Rangers made the finals and the Yankees were on top of the American League. I have not seen New York sports at this type of tizzy. Only the time that I ever see that, it was when the Knicks have been out, when the Knicks are at the top. And the Knicks are at the top right now, and I have not seen it this way. Even in 94, it wasn't that bad. Even when the Mets and the Yankees were playing the Subway Series in 2000, did the sports ever get into that big of a tizzy out there. There are so many people packing the streets of New York just to celebrate with each other every time the Knick wins. And this is what New York City needs. City has gone through a bunch of shit over the past 20-something years. And it has been since 2012 since the New York City team has won a championship. That's been since the daggone New York Giants beat the Patriots for the second time. With 7 pro teams just in New York City. No, I take that back. 9 pro teams just in New York City. It is the longest drought that New York City has ever been with a championship in any sport since the founding of the American and National League in baseball almost over a century ago. That's how long it's been, since 1923, when the Yankees won their first championship. There hasn't been a period of championship 14 years, and this championship drought has been killing New York fans. So I'm saying this as a New Yorker. I'm saying this as a guy who grew up bleeding the Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, John Starks, Derek Harper, orange and blue. Go New York. Go New York, go. Knicks in 6. You win it at the Garden. Chalamet gets on the court. Spike Lee dies a happy man, and the Knicks will take home the championship, baby. Don't care who it is. I don't care if it's the Alien. I don't care if it's Floppy Wiener freaking SGA. The Knicks in 6. We have come a long way since the days of Isaiah Thomas and James Dolan messing up the whole thing to draft it and Tingus Pingus and all of the other scrubs that you've had. Okay, the Knicks in 6. This is the year. This has to be the year, because if not, I am going to have it when I come back in the middle of June, and I swear to Christ, I might put a freaking hole through this wall that's in front of me with every single one of these daggone screwdrivers that I've got hanging up in front of it. I'm going to poke so many damn holes in the wall, being so ticked off it isn't even funny. All right. So anyway,
This is why I always.
Yeah, this, K-Mill, this is usually that part where King goes, all right, coach, you got to calm down for a second. You got to.
This is usually where you're losing it over the WNBA stories, right?
Yeah. You know what? No WA this week because King's not here. And look, we still have a couple more people as well. We've only got 2 right now signed up for trivia. I want to hit on a couple things real quick before we do that. So if you all still want to watch and play trivia with us, scan that QR code, get into our chat real quick. In fact, I'm actually going to pin this onto the chat right up there on the top, the trivia link. You can click on that link. You can go ahead and join us for trivia for this evening. We're going to give it a couple more minutes. Even if we don't have 5 people, 5 people will be for the play, but we'll go through trivia. It's actually trivia we were supposed to do in February, and then that got canceled. Then we got to do it in April, and that got canceled again, and I feel like I have to get this daggone trivia going somehow. So we're going to play trivia tonight, whether or not it's going to kill me or we're going to have just 2 people participating. All right? You fine with that, K-Mill?
I'm good with that.
All right, man. Hey, let me ask you something. You follow NASCAR?
Yeah, bringing up the unfortunate news in the last week.
Yes, I am.
That one, I mean, I haven't followed NASCAR in so many years, but just enough to be able to, shoot the stuff.
You ever go to a race?
Yeah. I went to a number of races when I was younger, and then I think I did go to a race at the Texas Motor Speedway when I was still living in Texas once, but I haven't. I just know that the info when I saw that Kyle Busch died, and I was like, how old is he? And he's 41, and I just turned 40 not too long ago, and I was like, oh, hit me right in the ill age box.
It got me too on that, man. And I, right around the time that I started following NASCAR, Kyle was a snot driving for Hendrick. And, with his entire career. I basically saw his entire career unfold when I really started watching racing in 2006. I attended my first race I ever went to was the Coca-Cola 600, which happens every Memorial Day weekend, and just happened after that. So it's been 20 years since I went there to my first ever race, and the winner of that race was Casey Kane. Second place in that race was Jimmy Johnson. And then, driving the number 5 for Hendrick Motorsport was Kyle Busch at that race. And he had already won a couple races at that point. And, up in the Cup Series, he would only be on Hendrick for about another year before he made his move to Gibbs Racing after Hendrick dumped him to go sign Dale Earnhardt Jr. I'm just not saying anything bad about Jr., but, that was a straight money move. It definitely wasn't to win more races, because Kyle Busch, when he went over to Joe Gibbs Racing, went on an absolute tear through both through the Cup Series, the now NASCAR O'Reilly Series, used to be called the Busch Series, or the Xfinity Series, as well as through the Truck Series. For those of you that aren't aware, knew that Kyle Busch had passed, throughout his racing career, he won 234 races across all 3 of those series. In fact, it was a trivia night. Question about who the all-time leader is in race wins. Petty, everybody thinks that he was the all-time winner. Well, he is for Cup because he races. But in Cup, Xfinity, or the Busch Series, and the Truck Series, he only won one race, and at that point, that was called the Grand National Series. Right. So Kyle Busch, after he won his 202nd race, became the all-time winningest driver in NASCAR history. 63 races at the Cup level, 102 races at the Grand National, Busch, Xfinity, O'Reilly Series level, which is the largest by anybody, which is the most by anybody, and 69 wins in the Truck Series, which again is the most of any driver. So 2 different racing series, he is the all-time leading driver in, and he is 9th all-time at 63 wins. And his unfortunate passing came and when you hear it's been put out on Us Weekly, In Touch, TMZ about what happened, he ended up just having the pneumonia, and just by the matter of circumstances with how the pneumonia was treated and the way that it just went through his body, it was a cascading thing, one after another, and led to his sudden death on Wednesday evening of last week. Real sad to hear about that too. And, from one of the things that was put out, he was in a racing simulator to go over the car for the 600 at the Chevy simulator. And then he just lost consciousness inside the simulator. The week before, he was racing at Watkins Glen, and he needed a shot after that race in order to, he wasn't feeling. But the one thing that does get up is that the last Truck Series race that he was in Dover, before the All-Star race, that was his last. That was the week before the Saturday before he passed. So it was kind of fitting that on Saturday, because of the way that qualifying was raced out, that Kyle Busch won the pole to that race, and he was supposed to be on pole position had he raced for that one. But our thoughts and prayers go to his wife, his son Brexton, his brother Kurt, who was just elected into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, as well as all of his fans and his mother and his father, entire family, as they go through and try to piece together the life of what was still one of the greatest NASCAR racers and one of the greatest drivers that ever went to the hard top in the concrete of NASCAR tracks. And Kyle Busch will be missed. A lot of fans, a lot of a lot of drivers and his family as well. Kyle Busch died at the age of 41 last week. Let's have a moment of silence. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, still taking some more people up here for our trivia. I think I've actually got 3 people up here now on trivia. Yep, we got 3 people up on that. So, K-Mill, you're not going to be just playing by yourself, which is a good thing for this evening. Hey, so let me ask you now. I mean, I know talking sports. What sports do you follow, man?
Oh, lately I've been so busy. I haven't really been. Normally, I think probably the one I follow the most is football. So that's nothing going on right now. I've been wanting to get back into watching some hockey because I've always enjoyed watching it, but it's just I normally have my cable box turned off because because my cable box scares the hell out of me in the middle of the night.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So Xfinity boxes, if left plugged into my TV,
yeah,
at about random times, usually between 2 and 3 in the morning, will cause my TV to turn on, and then that doesn't play anything, but then it'll swap over to my Amazon Prime stick, which will then launch into previews. And if I had something on loud, like watching a movie, those previews will then launch at that loud volume at 3 o'clock in the morning and have me freaking out. So yeah, it's always a problem. And then I'll leave it disconnected long enough that when I go to plug it in to watch some kind of sports, it says, your box doesn't want to work anymore.
Oh, daggone. Well, listen, once we get done with here, I can't tell you, if you turn it on ESPN, you're going to find Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Hurricanes
and Canadians.
Yeah, the Hurricanes and the Canadians. So Hurricanes are up 2-1 right now in that series, with Game 4 happening over in Montreal. And the winner of that series is going to go on to see the Las Vegas Knights, who swept the President Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche. They did that last week or earlier this week, sweeping them 4-0, which that was a surprise to me. I actually had the Avs in 4, but nice to see that the Vegas Knights, who was an expansion for 2020, have now made their 3rd Stanley Cup final in 7 years, which is 9 seasons, excuse me, which is an awesome feat for a team that less than a decade ago didn't even exist. And one of the things that you are looking at right now is that there is another streak within the NHL that is happening. And this streak, King and I have talked about this several times, but it has now been daggone 33 years since the last Canadian team had won a Stanley Cup, and it happens to be the Montreal Canadiens. So as we're looking at it right now, they're still tied at 0-0 within the first period. And I don't know if we're still going to see another Canadian team win the Stanley Cup, which, if you would have said that there was a streak of 34 years without, a Canadian team winning the Stanley Cup, people would think you're absolutely nuts. But here we are smack in the middle of this. And, just as far as hockey goes, K-Mill, do you got any explanation for what happened?
I was just going to ask my question. I was like, if you told me 15 years ago that an expansion team would be in the desert and would be like making an impressive run over the course of a decade, I would, it would be nuts. Like, it's a game played on ice that's being dominated by a team that's in the middle of nowhere, desert.
Yeah.
So, but with the Canadians, I don't know. I mean, is there anything that would? I mean, is there anything that might explain why the Canadian teams have,
I did have this theory, and tell me if it's got any merit. You can definitely disagree with me on this, but I think it actually has to do with the exchange rate.
Okay.
So cost of living in is actually higher than what it is in the United States. The exchange rate, the Canadian dollar, is not as strong as the US dollar. And all of the all of the contracts, the NHL, as well as within baseball and basketball, because we do have Canadian teams there, all of them are within U.S. currency. But now you've got you've got one team in for baseball, the Toronto Blue Jays. You got one team in Canada for the basketball, and that's Toronto Raptors. There are, I believe, 7 Canadian teams that are in the NHL. So almost over a third, almost a fourth of the NHL team. Yeah, almost a fourth of the NHL teams are Canadian based. Even though they have a higher standard of living and the dollar's not as much there, I don't think the money goes as far in Canada as it would in the United States. So I don't think that free agents and other players are yearning to play in Canada in colder weather. And hockey is a long season. It goes all the way from October through June. You're going to play all in cold weather in Canada in an area that money is not going to go as far as what you have, and your sponsorship opportunities and your other types of endorsement deals are not going to go as far as it will in the United States. So I think that and it's happened for a while, that the Canadian teams, unless they start getting homegrown players and keep everybody inside their teams and keep them on the teams for forever, they're not going to get a Stanley Cup anytime soon. And I think it's an economic factor that nobody wants to talk about, or nobody can talk about, because there's no other explanation that I can have other than 33 years of being unlucky, which I doubt these Canadian teams truly are.
Well, I was going to ask, I just Googled what, the nationality trends is for the NHL, like where players come from. Mm-hmm. And a majority, almost nearly like 90 up into like 1972, 94% of the players came from Canada. And around that time, the early 70s, it starts dropping off, like got a noticeable trend to the point that 2023, it's 42% of the players.
It's still the highest, though, out of all of the nationalities. Yes. Am I correct? Yeah.
But now you see a lot more players. Like you see, U.S. is 28%. And then right behind it is Sweden at 10%. And then Russia, makes sense, 6%. Yeah. Czech Republic, just under 3%. Finland, and then you start getting into Slovakia, Belarus, France.
Yeah.
This article mentioned something about Japan, but I don't see them. Australia. One player in 2024 out of Australia.
Yes, there was one. Let me ask you something. You have kids, right?
No, actually, I do not.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, all right. Not a problem there.
No.
But let me ask you, what do you think the most expensive sport to get kids involved in would be? Out of all the major sports, you think it would be tennis, hockey, lacrosse, baseball, football? Which one do you think is the most expensive?
That's a good question, because, I'm thinking back to all my other friends.
Exclude motorsports.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, F1's probably at the top. Yeah. Basically having to buy a team. I mean, so there's the cost of the gear, right? So I feel like hockey's got to be pretty expensive. There's a lot of gear there, hockey and football. But you don't have to, like, typically hockey and football players, you're not having to get, like, instructors, right? Whereas I have friends that have had to get like golf coaches specifically for their kids, for like, for golf, and I don't know what the going rate is for a golf pro per hour anymore. I'd have to imagine it's north of $100 an hour. So that's got to add up pretty quick. Tennis, I'm assuming that's another sport that probably, if you want your kid to get at apex level, is probably going to require a tennis coach. I'm trying to think of what other sports. I don't see personalized coaches for soccer.
You brought something up regarding the affordability and the playability of that, and I'm glad that you did mention tennis, and golf. Both of them are, you would have to pay for individual instruction, which you do, but there is a lot more tennis courts and a lot more golf courses than there are ice hockey rinks.
Yep.
There is a lot more gear, a lot more travel, and a lot more ice time for ice hockey that they have to pay for than it would be any other team sport or individual sport. If you look at a tennis court, like I've got a tennis complex up here by my house, maybe about 2 miles away. They've got 20 tennis courts and about another 15 or 16 pickleball courts. I don't even know what else they've got up there, but they've got tennis courts galore over at this area. You can play as much individual, you can play doubles, you can practice with a lot of people on all of those courts. Basketball, there is a ton of basketball courts all around. You can have an indoor court, outdoor court, you can have a court right in your backyard. Baseball, now granted, baseball, has kind of gone a little bit, south as far as, and I'm not saying south is, South America, but some of the best players are coming from there. But it is more of an outdoor sport, and the participation in baseball has wandered down where it has become a little bit more expensive. But it has not become as expensive as it has for hockey players to get into it. When you bring up, when I mentioned F1, and yes, F1 is most likely the most expensive sport that they would have to get into. Karting and going to tracks and buying your own, cars and going into feeder series and doing all of these other races, that costs a ton of mechanical money. There is a ton of equipment money and different places that you would have to go, but there's also more race tracks like dirt tracks and round, NASCAR local, they call them local or regional tracks, but there are sanctioned tracks. There's a lot of them all across the South where I'm from. There's not that many ice hockey rinks around here. In fact, the one hockey rink that we do have around Fayetteville is the only one within about 60 miles of Fayetteville, and it happens to be on Fort Bragg. That is the state of where a lot of hockey is happening. In New Jersey, where I grew up, there were 2 hockey rinks that people could play in, or practice in during the season, and that was for every team in the county. There were only 2 of them. There was a third one, but nobody was getting into Brendan Byrne Arena in order to play at the Devils, And on top of that, they also shared it with the Nets, so that was a temporary rink instead of a permanent rink. There is not that many opportunities to get an entire frozen rink of ice that has to be refrigerated unless you're in someplace absolutely cold where there is nothing but permafrost up there and snow, like Canada. So you're going to be paying hand over fist for ice time, for the upkeep on the ice, and for all of that in order for you to practice playing hockey. Hockey in Canada, you should have that advantage, but there's a lot of other sports that are now being played outside of hockey where Canadians are not going to be just the, they still have the majority because they have the numbers, they have the resources available. But when you have a very weak economy, very weak currency, and you've got a sport that costs a heck of a lot, your diminishing returns are going to start going international. Same thing is happening with basketball too. The last 6 MVPs have all been 7 MVPs have all been international players. That's something right there that has never been done in the NBA and could happen again might happen again next season as well. So it's interesting how this stuff happens, and it all rotates around the mighty dollar, doesn't it, Gabe?
Yeah. And I found a graphic. I don't know what the accuracy of it is, but it seems pretty detailed. It's from playgroundequipment.com.
Mm-hmm.
And it says the average cost of each children's sport, ages 1 through 18. And it breaks it up on average annual family spending on one child by sport, ages 1 through 18. And wouldn't you know it? Ice hockey's at the top of the list with the average cost per year at just under $2,600. With the majority of the cost going to travel at $830.
Mm-hmm.
And registration at $630. And then followed by equipment at just under $400, and camps lessons just under $400, and then camps at $300.
That is absolutely ridiculous. $2,600, $2,700. You know, and look, I'm not saying anything bad for the kids, but if you break it down per month, that's $250 per kid, almost.
I mean, that's a lot. And then it doesn't even include the cost for dental work too.
Yeah. Well, most of them don't have dental work because they always end up playing without teeth. You know, that's the great thing about hockey. You don't need teeth to play. So,
well, yeah, I mean, but you know, you're going to have those parents that don't want to send their kids to school missing teeth. So you're more bound to mom and dad are more bound to make sure your teeth are fixed by the time, you know, before you get out of the house. Can you guess what the second most expensive sport is?
Second most. Let me see. This is team sports, right?
Just says sports in general. Think of the Olympics.
Gymnastics.
That's number 4 actually. Think Winter Olympics.
Skiing
and snowboarding at $2,250. Now $1,100 of that is equipment.
That I could see. Yeah. Rentals for ski equipment is pretty high out there. I think I spend maybe about $190 to $250 somewhere in that range per person when I host a ski event. So, yeah, I could see that being a lot. I mean, those boards and those skis and the poles, they're all made out of carbon fiber now, and those things they do cost you a pretty penny if you want to be competitive doing that.
Yep.
Yeah. What's number 3?
Number 3, where did I have that? That would be field hockey, which is around $2,100. Now, this has a disproportionate cost related to travel at just under $1,000 a month, or $1,000 a year, and equipment is $500.
And I'm thinking of it like that equipment, all right, it does need a specialized, stick or, stick that you're whatever you want to call it, that you're, utilizing. But I never thought that the transportation cost would be that much for field hockey. That's something.
I don't know either, unless you're doing a lot like. I mean, I never knew anybody when I was a kid playing field hockey. So maybe like they have to travel like really, really far just to find another field hockey team. They're like, yeah.
A lot of the when my high school was growing up, a lot of the players that were playing field hockey, they were playing on the football fields. The football fields were usually the ones where they would play the field hockey on. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it is a little bit weird, but I mean, they usually have that same exact kind of field dimensions out there. But I never thought that would be something that would be different. Maybe over 25 years or however long it's been since I've been out of high school, it's, changed a little bit. Damn, it's almost been 30 years.
Well, the town I grew up in was not well sophisticated, so I don't think we had a field hockey team where I grew up in Florida.
Yeah, that's another thing too. It also, I think, regionally it gets a little bit different because, hockey is bigger in like New Hampshire, Boston, Maine, Vermont, South Dakota, North Dakota, the areas that have that have freaking snow constantly. Field hockey, I kind of felt was the same way. It was a little bit more of the Northeast corridor that I think I saw a lot of people play. Same thing with like lacrosse too, where like John Hunt, Syracuse, and all of the Northeast areas are the ones that dominate field hockey. I always felt that football was more accessible in the South than it was up in like the Northeast. So. I mean, but you still have places like Pennsylvania that are kind of like football factories as well. But I do see there's a little bit of regionalism when it does come to some of the sports, and I think maybe field hockey might be one of those ones that's a little bit more regional.
Yeah, what did it say? Do you know there's actually been? I don't want to sound sexist, but I've never knew that there was men's field hockey teams.
I've heard of them, but I've never paid attention to them. I mean, for crying out loud, I just realized that there was a professional, there's a professional. When I say professional wrestling, I'm not talking about AEW or WWE. There is like professional Olympic wrestling now. And there's some other leagues that I was surprised to see, and I remember hearing that there is a men's field hockey as well. So, hey, whatever that's happened, I know that there's women's lacrosse and there's women's hockey. There are women's sports, and some of them are doing pretty well, especially like the women's soccer is always doing well. What isn't doing well is women's basketball on a professional level. But let's not talk about that. Let's go ahead and talk about our sports trivia, which right now people are already locked in. And K-Mill, do you got your stuff ready to roll on your phone?
Yep.
All right. So if you all are watching right now, what we're about to do, I'm going to do a 30-second countdown for our trivia. You guys can still go ahead and scan in. If you want to enter in, we're going to get started here. I'll give it actually until 9 o'clock. So got about four more minutes. If you want to scan that QR code on your phone or enter in the link that I've got pinned to the top of the chat, go ahead and do that quick. Apparently somebody in the chats over here wanted $600 to shave the beard. I don't know who the hell you are, Andrew White, but
I don't know either.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'm sorry. You're not shaving my beard, and I'm not paying you $600 to shave your beard. You can go ahead and do that as much as you want, and go ahead and, in fact, actually, I'll give a little shout out to a friend of our shows, Pete. Go to Grooming and Reviews, and if you want to ask him to shave the beard for $600 or shave his beard for $600, you can go ahead and ask him that. But I don't think we're going to go ahead and shave our facial hair for that much money. In fact, actually.
Well, he said no deal after 5 minutes, so.
Oh, okay. Well, good for him. All righty. But
wait.
He'll live. He'll be suffice out there. I do want to thank everybody who has gone ahead and stayed with us during this time. And glad that you all have made it out here on this Wednesday night. Obviously, you can't see me. I don't know what's going on with my thing. So I don't even know why the heck I even have my fence up right now if my thing's not even on. So
you got 3 cameras.
While you're down here, I'm actually gonna take a seat and go into the host seat right now. Let me adjust my microphone so that I'm at least comfortable during my trivia night. Yeah,
I see that you got 3 different cameras listed under you, so I didn't know if maybe you got the wrong one.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening on that one. One of them, mine's up here. You can see me on this, right? You can see that one, and then I've got the other one where I'm sharing the screen, so we're okay with that one. But we've got the share screen up, and I've got 8:58 on the clock right now. 8:59. I'm going to go ahead and start the countdown so that we can get going with that. And yeah, this ought to be one. For those of you that also don't know, I am a amateur trivia host. I do host for my organization a bi-monthly trivia event. It has been told that it is by far the best trivia as well as the most challenging trivia. I actually had somebody put a survey together saying that the questions were impossible, and she didn't understand how nobody answered any of the answers correctly. She got a 1. I got a 1 out of 7 out of that one. Everybody else always tells me that it was great. The only issue that they have is because of the different or their internet froze up. Nothing I can do with their internet freeing up, but we'll get you all going on there. And I'm going to increase, let's see, 80%. Yep. There we go. We got everything going up from there. So, okay, Miller, are you ready right now, my friend?
Ready to go.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start the countdown. I'll give us a 30-second countdown here in just a minute. And then once it goes, everybody will have a practice question. Now, if y'all are playing at home and haven't scanned the QR code, I'm not going to be accepting answers inside the chat, so you're not going to be eligible to play. Only people that have scanned the QR code and have entered are going to be eligible to play. So let's see who wins this night's sports trivia. Let's start that countdown now. Got 30 seconds coming on down.
I also did drop the link again in the chats.
So. All good, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yep, we're starting this here soon. The first one is a practice question, all right? And K-Mill, if you have watched our show over the past year, however long we've been on, you should know where I should be going with my first question, just because I always love bringing up this gentleman. Here is the first question, our practice. This is the team O.J. Simpson played his last NFL game with before murdering his ex-wife and a waiter. Is it A, the White Broncos on the 405, B, the Mean Machine of the Citrus State Prison, C, the Chain Gang of the Nevada State Penitentiary, D, the 49ers, or E, the Slashers of Brentwood? Oh.
Got a little Norm McDonald energy there.
Yes, this is all going from there, and I absolutely love seeing Norm McDonald and some of his some of his old stuff out there. This just in: murder is now legal in California. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it was the 49ers. Yes, that's who we have got winning right there. So let's move on to our first segment, which is the NBA. Our next questions are going to be about the NBA. You will have 20 seconds to go ahead and answer it. There will be 5 multiple choices on each one of these questions, and you can go ahead and get it. Let's get started with and I forgot. You get 500 points for a correct answer, but every answer that you have, every second subtracts 25 points. So answer it quickly to get the most points that you can. First question in the NBA. This NBA Hall of Famer holds the record for the most rebounds in a single game. Is it A, Dennis Rodman, B, Bill Russell, C, Wilt Chamberlain, D, Moses Malone, or E, Maurice Stokes?
Well, if it was the WNBA.
No, I don't know, and I do not care who holds the record for the WNBA. But most rebounds in a single game belongs to C, Wilt Chamberlain, who had 55 in a game in 1958. He also played against a white center who was 6'3". Next question in the NBA. This NBA Hall of Famer is the only player to win 5 championships without playing for the Celtics, Lakers, or the Bulls. Is it A, Robert Horry, B, Tim Duncan, C, Manu Ginobili, D, Steve Kerr, or E, Steph Curry? Interesting one here. Well, there is only one other team that has won 5 NBA championships during a single time period.
San Antonio?
That was San Antonio, but there are 3 players who played on San Antonio, actually 4 players who played on San Antonio on this list. Which one did not win it? Well, the one who won all 5 of them with the Spurs, and that is A, the big fundamental, Tim Duncan. B, big fundamental, Tim Duncan. Next question in the NBA. This is the only player to win the NBA MVP from a team with a losing record. Is it A, Wes Unseld, B, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, C, Bob McAdoo, D, Russell Westbrook, or E, Bill Walton? Now, one of these ones, which was the most recent, finished on a team that finished 1 game over 500, and that was Russell Westbrook. The only player that had a losing record and won the MVP was the great B, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I thought that was the obvious, or I thought that was like the...
Yeah, got a little from there. All right, so that is all of our NBA questions. Let's move on to our next category, which is NCAA men's basketball. All of our questions will be about men's college basketball. Yes, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson meeting in the 1979 NCAA championship game. Still the all-time most watched basketball game in NCAA history. Here is our first question in NCAA men's. This is the furthest Alabama Crimson Tide's men's basketball team has made it in the NCAA tournament. As you can tell, this question was definitely set up for King. Is it A, 32, the round of 32, B, the Sweet 16, C, the Elite 8, D, the Final Four, or E, the championship game? Don't worry about the E. I don't know where the hell that E ended up coming from on the Final Four.
You got me distracted with the meth teeth.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's how people from Alabama look. You know that they don't have a toothbrush there. They have a toothbrush, and they all share the same tooth.
Well,
So, ladies and gentlemen, the answer is D, the Final Four. They made that in 2022.
I would like to point out that I'm pretty sure that guy is from Oklahoma, though.
Maybe West Virginia. It could definitely be from one of them. All right, next question in NCAA men's. This is the first freshman to win college basketball's Player of the Year. A, Carmelo Anthony, B, Anthony Davis, C, Lou Alcindor, D, Kevin Durant, or E, Elton Brand. Now, one of them won a NCAA championship as a freshman. There's only one that did, but only one of them won, or the first one to win College Basketball Player of the Year as a freshman was D, Kevin Durant over at the University of Texas. Carmelo Anthony was the first freshman and the most outstanding player in the NCAA tournament when he led the Syracuse Orangemen to the national championship in 2003. Anthony Davis never won the championship, but he did win it. Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, never played as a freshman. That was a little trick question. And Elton Brand, well, he won it in his sophomore season. All right, next question in NCAA men's. This is the ACC's all-time leading scorer. And yes, he is from North Carolina. Oh, damn, I already gave that a little bit away because there's only one. Is it A, Christian Laettner, B, J.J. Redick, C, Ralph Sampson, D, Tyler Hansborough, or E, Johnny Dawkins?
Well, your little hint didn't help me.
Yeah, it didn't because J.J. Redick played for Duke. So did Christian Laettner, so did Johnny Dawkins. So it was either Ralph Sampson or the correct answer, D, Tyler Hansborough.
Son of beach.
All right, no problem there. Let's move on to the next category. Our next category is, we got NASCAR. Yes. Our next questions, next 3, will be about NASCAR. All right, first question coming up in NASCAR. This is the youngest of the sanctioned racing series that NASCAR oversees. Is it A, the Whelen Modified Tour, B, the ARCA Series, C, the Whelen All-American Series, D, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, or E, the Craftsman Truck Series?
Shit.
All right, K Mill, seeing that you're the only one playing right now, and I'm only basically testing you, I will let you know that your answer missed it by a year. The answer was
Oh,
ones that I actually mentioned earlier that Kyle Busch is the all-time winning driver for, the Craftsman Truck Series, which started in 1996.
that was my other one, but I figured the truck series has been around a little bit longer.
Yeah, 96 is when it started. You know, the other one, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, that's the Busch Series. The other ones, they all came in the 60s. All right, next question in NASCAR. This Allison is not part of the famed NASCAR driver group named the Alabama Gang. Is it Bobby Allison, B, Donnie Allison, C, Trevor Allison, D, Davey Allison, or E, Clifford Allison? Nobody's going to get this. You're definitely not getting this one, K-Bill. Let's be honest. You can give me one. But all of them right now seem like they're, and like I said, this was meant for King to answer. He would possibly know that the only name that was not a real NASCAR driver was C, Trevor Allison. There is a Bobby, there is a Donnie, there is a Davey. Both of them, all three of them are in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And then there was Clifford.
I keep coming down to two choices in my head, and I keep guessing the wrong one.
All right. Well, the one that you guess is the wrong one. Make sure you guess it as, don't guess it as the wrong one again. Just go with the other one. All right. Next question in NASCAR. This NASCAR road course is not on the 2026 schedule. Is it A, the Coronado Street Course, B, the Charlotte Roval, C, Sonoma, D, Watkins Glen, or E, Circuit of the Americas? K-Mill, I know you went to Texas. Do you know where Circuit of the Americas is?
It's in Austin.
Yes, it is, and they just raced there about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, I got that wrong.
That's all right. So just so you know that the only race that is not going on this year is B, the Charlotte Roval. In about 2 weeks, they're going to be racing in San Diego on Coronado Naval Air Station. So that will be a nice little, 250th celebration road course there. All right, let's get the hell out of NASCAR. Let's get to tennis, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yes. Okay, Mill, don't worry about it. We got another 28 questions to go.
I mean, if you asked me a question about Days of Thunder, I probably would have got it.
I got you.
Some cold trickle action.
All right, let's see if you know anything about tennis. Some of these are pretty easy. Some of these you might just get them just based on just normal things from tennis. All right, here comes the first question in tennis. And Wario and whatever is Waluigi, yeah, they are the doubles champions. All right. Oh, let's just watch this for a second. The Wimbledon Championships are played on this surface. Is it A, grass, B, clay, C, concrete, D, asphalt, or E, carpet? Wimbledon is one of the oldest, as well as it's only called Wimbledon. I don't know why I picked that gift. Oh, no, I do know why I picked that gift. But, ladies and gentlemen, the answer, and K-Mill, you should be happy about this. You got it right. It is A, grass. All right. Next question in tennis. Famous crip walker Serena Williams won this major championship the least in her career. Is it A, the Australian Open, B, the French Open, C, the U.S. Open, D, Wimbledon, or E, the Tour Finals?
I'm guessing Australia, because who cares about Australia?
Well, Australia is usually the first major championship of the year,
So
played
maybe they're
on
warming up.
concrete, and she actually has won it very often. The one that she hasn't, she's only won twice in her career, was the clay courts of the French Open, because in all actuality, nobody cares about France. All right, next question in tennis. This has two correct answers. Andre Agassi is the most recent American to win this championship. Is it A, the U.S. Open, B, the Australian Open, C, the Olympics, D, Wimbledon, or E, the French Open? Yes, image is everything. You remember those commercials? You're too young.
That looks like it's. I mean, Agassi has all his hair, so
Yeah, that was the 80s, man. That was 80s when Agassi came out with this stuff. That wasn't before he dropped 191st in the world and then had his comeback. But he is the last American to not only win at the Olympics, but also the French Open. Now, he is the last one to win all of those. So, pretty good on tennis. You did get 2 out of 3 correct. K-Mill, good job there. All right, next question or next category comes to the Olympics. Yes, we'll be talking about the Olympics here. And give me a second. I want to do something. I want to get rid of this stupid QR code. Let me get rid of that off of there. Let me also get rid of this URL bar. Okay, yep, there we go. So we've got our next 3 questions about the Olympics. Let's go ahead and kick that off with our first question.
Kurt Angle.
This sport will not make its return in the LA 2028 Olympics.
Ooh,
Is it A, bowling, B, softball, C, lacrosse, D, cricket, or E, baseball?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I just saw what you put in there, and I hate to say this, cricket is making a comeback. So is baseball, softball, and lacrosse, but what is not coming back is bowling. Just trying to give a little hint as far as, like, the guy playing curling here. Curling and bowling is kind of almost the same, and you have to be in that same type of shape for that. But all right, next question in the Olympics. This is how many Vestal virgins perform a celebration to light the Olympic flame at the Temple of Hera. It happens every Olympics, every 2 years. Is it A, 3, B, 7, C, 10, D, 11, or E, 69? How many virgins do we need? Well, you're not going to get 42 virgins. That only happens if you're Muslim.
I bet that was 72.
72, 42, who cares? None of them are going to get them. So, ladies and gentlemen, how many virgins are actually needed? There is 11 virgins needed to go ahead and light the Olympic flame. Or you just get one guy to light his own fart and get that started. All right, next question in the Olympics. This is the longest serving member of the International Olympic Committee. And yes, every single one of these real alive people. Is it A, Dick Pound, B, Mike Crack, C, Rusty Kuntz, D, Fair Hooker, or E, Fabian Assman? And they are all sportsmen, too. Fabian Assman is a soccer player. Fair Hooker is a billiards player. Rusty Kuntz is a baseball player. Mike Crack is actually he's in F1, but in the Olympic Committee, the one, the only, Dick Pound is the longest serving member of the International Olympic Committee. Yes, his name is really Dick Pound. Yeah, he doesn't even go by Richard. He goes by Dick Pound. All right. Let's get off of the Olympics and let's get to baseball, Major League Baseball. All right, outstanding. And let's see, Griffey, you're up to bat and taking care of Homer Simpson. First question up in Major League Baseball. This was the year the Chicago Cubs installed lights at Wrigley Field, becoming the last Major League Baseball stadium to have them. Is it A, 1982, B, 1984, C, 1986, D, 1988, or E, 1990? Now, just to kind of give this up, that same year was the year, I believe, that they met the Mets in the playoffs. But don't quote me on that. I can't remember. But that year, Was D, 1998. That's when lights were installed in Wrigley Field.
You mean
All right.
1988?
What's that?
1988?
1988. Yep, 1988. That was the year that they installed the lights and had their first night game. All right, next question in Major League Baseball. The Texas Rangers moved from this city in 1971. What team were the Texas Rangers in before they moved to Dallas or Arlington? Was it A, Washington, D.C., B, Milwaukee, C, Minneapolis, D, Seattle, or E, Philadelphia?
I feel like I should have known that one since I watched that Nolan Ryan biography.
Well, you actually did get that one correct because they were known as, at that time, the Senators, and they played in Washington, D.C.
Maybe I did remember.
Yes. All right. Next question in Major League Baseball. Rest in peace, Chuck Norris. This Major League player was the first player to play for the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Giants, the four quote-unquote New York teams. Is it A, Adam Ottavino, B, Ricky Leday, C, Luis Sojo, D, Jose Vizcaino, or E, Darryl Strawberry? Oh, and also, I hate doing this too. Rest in peace, John Sterling. Can't believe he passed away and I didn't say anything about him on that one. But the first player to do this did this in 1995. It happened to be one of my favorite all-time New York greatest players, Darryl.
I figured that one would have been too easy.
Darryl Strawberry, 1995, became the first one. The next one to do it after him was Jose Vizcaino, then Ricky Leday, then Adam Ottavino. Luis Sojo did not play for all four teams. All right, let's get out of Major League Baseball and get into golf. Oh, four. I should have yelled poo. All right, our next three questions are about golf. Let's go ahead and let's swing right through on this one. Here's question number one. Tiger Woods has hit this many holes in one during his PGA career. A2, B3, C4, D5, or E6. Okay, Mel, I do want to thank you for going through this entire thing by yourself and trying to see if I can test you on your sports trivia.
I was just watching a video of someone.
You're doing better than King, though.
Just watching a video about Tiger Woods yesterday.
Yeah, well, for shizzle, this is how many holes in ones he actually had. Only 3 in his career and the PGA. Now, he's had multiple holes in ones as an amateur, but he only had 3 during his time while he was on the PGA Tour. And we don't know if he'll ever be back on the PGA Tour because he's got to drive over there, and as we know, he's a terrible driver. Next question in golf. This female former bureaucrat is a member of Augusta National, where the Masters is played. Is it A, Condoleezza Rice, B, Janet Reno, C, Christine Todd Whitman, D, Hillary Clinton, or E, Nancy Pelosi? And I was hoping that for some reason, if Dave Chappelle was on the previous gift, it would kind of lean somebody to think of one that he made fun of on the first episode of the Chappelle Show.
Condoleezza Rice.
Condoleezza Rice. Sounds like an Asian dish. It is A. Condoleezza Rice is a member of Augusta National. All right. Next question in golf. This is a hard one. The Open Championship was first held at St. Andrews, the home of golf, during this year. A, 1861, B, 1869, D, 1871, D, 1873, or E, 1883. Yeah, you really got to know golf in order to get this one right.
I was just trying to think back to Robin Williams' bit.
Yeah, the old course at St. Andrews is considered the Mecca of golf. That is one of the holes that is right there. But the first time that the Open, or what they call the British Open, was held there was in 1873. All right. That one was a hard one. I will definitely say that that was a hard one. If anybody ever got that correct, well, then you know your golf and you should be going home to your wife instead of playing so much golf.
Because you're a freaking nerd.
Exactly. All right. Next category is NCAA football. Look, I've actually got something K Mill might actually know all the questions to. And yes, again, this gift was again another dig at you see, the only reason why I wanted to do this is because King's not here. And now I got everything so I can just make him feel like when he looks at this, oh wow, they really thought about me. So
I love this video.
who is that? That's Drewski, right?
Drewski.
Yeah, his
AKA Erica Kirk.
his Erica Kirk is freaking hysterical. I love that one. I actually loved it when he went to the NASCAR race too. All right, first question in NCAA football. This was the last year the NCAA football championship was shared by 3 colleges. Was it A, 1979, B, 1990, C, 2008, D, 2011, or E, 2017? Well, I am going to give you a good one on this one, K-Mill. You do know this one, and it's because the next year the championship was overhauled where they only had one consensus champion, and that was D, 2011. Bama won the AP and the BCS, but LSU and Oklahoma State split the other national championships, like the coaches and the athletic directors ones, but those were the ones that no longer are being counted, and now there is one championship. All right. Next question in NCAA football. This is the year convicted murderer O.J. Simpson won the Heisman Trophy. Is it A, 1966, B, 1967, C, 1968, D, 1969, or E, 1970? Did I ever tell you that O.J. Simpson blocked me on Twitter because I put something in there that it was a despicable day when he killed Ron and Nicole? Yep, true story. But the year O.J. Simpson won the Heisman Trophy was in C, 1968. Yep. Rest in hell, OJ. All right. Question number 3 in NCAA football. This college won the Football Championship Series championship this past season in 2025. Used to call it Division I AA. Is it A, Eastern Washington, B, North Dakota State, C, James Madison, D, South Dakota State, or E, Montana State?
Shoot. I barely remember who won the national championship.
Yeah, I know. Same here. But I will say this one. If you do know something about this, about the NCAA championships, you'd be surprised on this one. They have actually won several in a row in a state that isn't known for football. E, Montana State.
Yeah. I was thinking Montana. I remember Montana has popped up a lot. So,
Yep, they did. Between them and North Dakota State, they've actually had a ton of national championships between them. And James Madison made the switch to the football, the Bold Series, the FBS, not this past couple of years, and was in the playoffs and got their asses kicked this past year. All right, let's go to the next category. 2 more categories left, K-Mill, until we're finally on this damn night. Thank God. All right. All right, the next one is, yes, we're going to go with yes. Great, the National Hockey League. I can't remember if is that Grizzy or is that Grimace? I can't remember the dude's name.
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever the dude is from the Flyers, he was not too happy getting swept by the by the Carolina Hurricanes, who, might I add, are up 3-0 in the second period. It does not look good for the Canadians. Let's get the first question in the NHL. This is the last team hockey great Jaromir Jagr played for in the NHL. Is it A, the Calgary Flames, B, the New York Rangers, C, the Florida Panthers, D, the New York Devils, or E, the Boston Bruins? He played, everybody remembers him playing for, the Penguins, but he ended up playing for 9 teams, and most of them were on his last several years in the league. But the last team that he played for before playing over in Russia was A, the Calgary Flames. All right. Next question in the NHL. The Art Ross Trophy is awarded to the player that led the NHL in this category. Is it A, goals, B, goalie wins, C, saves, D, points, or E, assists? Now, I will let you know that anything dealing with the goalie is only one award, and that is the Vezina Trophy. So it had to be one of the offensive ones, and it can be saves. So this category it was either goals, assists, or points. And the Art Ross Trophy goes to the one who scored the most points, which is both goals and assists in a season. Next question in the NHL. The 1979 NHL expansion, best known as the NHL-WHL merger, added this many teams, including the Hartford Whalers, now known as the Carolina Hurricanes, to the league. Is it A2, B3, C4, D6, or E8? This one's an interesting one because only 4 teams, and out of the 4 teams, none of them are actually at their original location, even though some of them are still back. The teams are the 4, yes. So the 4 teams, the Hartford Whalers, who are now the Carolina Hurricanes, the Minnesota North Stars, who are now the Dallas Stars. Here's the screwy one. The Edmonton Oilers stayed. They were part of them. But then came the Winnipeg Jets, who went down to Arizona to become the Phoenix Coyotes, and then another team went back up to become the expansion Winnipeg Jets. So, yes, there is 2 teams that are out there. The only team that stayed was the Edmonton Oilers. And the Edmonton Oilers, surprisingly enough, actually held the draft rights to one specific person, the great Wayne Gretzky. He was going to play for the WHL before it merged to the NHL. All right, Bill, I'm going to put us out of our misery. We are on our last category, my friend.
Apparently Mad Mike knows hockey.
Oh, he does? Good. He should have been playing over here. What did he put it in?
All crappy teams.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mike, you should have been playing over here instead of just worrying about it in the chat, but it's all right, buddy. So, look, we're getting into the last category, and I'm finally getting into the king of all American sports, the National Football League. Oh, and I've got a little bit of I'm going to let you know, K-Mill, because this one, it would have made King laugh because this kid. This kid's a Jet fan. And he said he hates this team. He was born into it. He's like my son. He was born into being a Jets fan, and he hates it too. So all these questions are going to be regarding the New York fucking Jets. All right. First question in the NFL. The last time the New York Jets were in the playoffs was this year, which in the NFL. Is it A, 2010, B, 2000, C, 2012, D, 2013, or E, 2014? You know what this gift comes from? This gift comes from when the Jets drafted tight end Johnny Mitchell instead of going for a quarterback that they needed. But in 2014, no, it has been much longer than that. It's been 15 seasons. 2011 was the last time that they made the daggone. They made the thing, and they made it all the way to the AFC game. All right, next question in the NFL. This is how many touchdowns Drake May had in the first half against the New York Jets in Week 17 of the 2025 NFL season. Is it A3, B4, C5, D6, or E7? Let me tell you something. It was kind of funny. The only reason why I know this, they were trailing 40 at halftime. At that point, had 5 touchdowns. It was sickening. I nearly got up and left when my son wanted to stay to the game. We had to. It was by far the most miserable football game I have ever been to. All right, last question in the NFL. Ed, the famous New York Jets fan that leads the JETS Jets chants at home game, is from this profession. What is Ed? Is Ed A, a fireman, B, a clown, C, a policeman, D, a garbage truck driver, or E, a porn star?
You wouldn't believe I just closed the browser out on accident and was able to pull it back up with the link.
Oh, good. Good. Well, he has his hat made after the Jets, and he is a retired fireman. All right. Okay, Mel, I appreciate you coming on here and making it all the way till the end. And yes, we are finally finished. And you can actually hear Mario just going right there at the end. I am now going to stop the game, and we are now going to see how many points K-Mill finished with. Your winner for tonight's trivia is... Yes. Oh, John had 0. He never even showed up. All right, I didn't know we had one. But K-Mill, 2,893 points. You are tonight's winner, Sports Bar Trivia. Yay. Now I can finally stop sharing that. Oh, man. I am so sorry that we had to get going with that, but we had to get going with there. So, all right, dude. What do you tell me, man? Just give me something to kind of wrap us up so we get out of here for tonight, man.
Well, it's don't forget, you got the playoffs going on. Coach is super excited about the Knicks. So for the sake of Coach's blood pressure and stroke risk, let's hope the Knicks can carry it all the way to the end and take it all the way.
Hey, man, thank you for coming on tonight. I appreciate you being on and hearing me rant and talk about sports on there. It feels good to finally talk to somebody who is not completely delusional about his football teams and, you know, has some love for sports. I appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, no problems. It's always fun getting on with either you or King.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right. Well, hey, look, ladies and gentlemen, we come to y'all live 6 nights a week on WTF Nation Radio and WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army WTF Moments. Check us out tomorrow night for Sergeant's Time. FTX not going this Friday. Is that correct? I believe you guys are going. I believe they're going take off, and then Saturday weekend co-op. Sunday will be the reset with Dr. J, TED Talk attendee Dr. J, and then we'll start the next week off on Monday with the Monday edition, and then move into Pop Warrior Secret stuff from his trip to Nashville that he'll like to talk about, and then see us all again next week, where hopefully King and I are back, and Mill doesn't have to hear us drone on and 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 on a Wednesday night, and you can actually print on out here, K Mill. I don't know else. Thank God. And thank you, man, for staying on camera and letting us kind of much for coming out this night. And we are out. Peace.
Have a good night. Coach.